bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Burden LLP Accountants and Advisors presents Tax Chat with Lisa Goldman, partner and leader of Burden's International Tax and Advisory Practice.
If you're a high net worth individual with international investments or a business owner with operations overseas, it is essential to have a tax advisor who knows how to protect your assets on a global scale. Owning and investing in foreign corporations comes with certain tax responsibilities. Burden Accountants and Advisors works with clients to ensure that they understand the intricacies of the global market, maximize the tax opportunities available, and reduce the challenges presented by international tax laws.
If you're a high net worth individual or a business owner, let Burden help protect you, your family, and your business. For more Tax Chat from Burden Accountants and Advisors, visit Burden.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Marketplace Show, Reset and Jumpstart. I'm Anthony Weeks. This is segment number 2 on technology and e-commerce. This is Tech Talk. And I want to thank you so much for being part of the program. And we have a really special show lined up for you this afternoon. We are going to take a look at some of the folks who participated in the accelerated program, acceleration. And so we're going to have the folks from the University of Virgin Islands Research and Technology Park. And there is my good friend and colleague, Mr. Michael Gerard. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Anthony. Nice seeing you, man. Nice being back.
I know, man. You've been on a long break there. So I'm sure you're ready. You're ready to go, right? I'm
ready to go, man. I'm ready to go.
Fantastic. You know, our good friend over at the RT Park, Research and Technology Park, Sydney, is with us today, and she's bringing the folks that participated in that event last week, or I think a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. It's called the Accelerate 6. And it's a 12-week program designed to immerse participants in a series of workshops, webinars, mentoring sessions tailored to prepare founders for Accelerate 6. 3 startups completed the program, and we're going to hear about these startups on the program today. And let's bring in Sydney on the program and say hi to her, and then she's going to do the honors of introducing folks. Hello, Sydney. How are you doing today?
Hi, guys. Good to be here. Good to see familiar faces. Michael, I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. How you been?
Pretty good.
You should be. You guys have been doing amazing things over there.
Super busy. But all good busy. All good busy things.
Yeah, Sydney is that, she put that S on her chest. She's like that super Wonder Woman, making stuff happen, man. Yeah, she doesn't rest, man. She does not rest. When she's not in the Virgin Islands on St. Croix, she's on a plane jet set and going to some tech hub, some tech forum, representing the RT Park. So good job, Sydney.
Thank you.
So I had the privilege of really participate and watching the presentation of 3 Accelerate companies participate in the program. And I believe by the last count, do we have all three of them, or do we have two of them that we're going to meet today?
We have two. So we have one founder from Change and two of the co-founders from Boomerang Eats.
Ah, fantastic, fantastic. So before we bring them up, Michael, I know that you've gone through the RT Park programs.
Right.
Did you go through this particular program, or what's your understanding and familiarization with that program?
So I don't think I actually did, Sydney, correct me if I'm wrong. No? Okay, yeah, I didn't. So I didn't go through this specific program. So I was part of the starting few that kind of, went through the first phases. It was an amazing experience all the way around. And unfortunately, I've been scattered in every single way the last few months. So I haven't been able to learn as much as I would like about this specific program. But I've been talking to my folks over in St. Croix and a few people here, and they told me that it's an amazing program. Everyone is having fun, everyone is learning, and it seems like it's full steam ahead. So I'm curious to, excited to learn more with Sydney today.
Now, before we take a deep dive and you give us the right perspective overview of it, congratulations. I understand that you guys just had a hackathon at the university with Microsoft, something with Microsoft. I didn't get the full details of it, but I understand Microsoft participated in a hackathon. Our colleague Leon Hughes participated in that as well. Is that part of your department, or is that separate to the university unit or department?
So that's separate. So we weren't a partner on the hackathon. I think Microsoft and the university kind of partnered with that together, but Leon was, I think, a part of it, and he is a really great partner to the RT Park. And truly, any programs for the students to get involved in technology benefits the work that we do, building a tech hub here. So we were happy to see that was an event that happened and that the students had a good time. Really excited about the partnership that they have with Microsoft. So it benefits everybody in the end, and we're really glad that it happened.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Now, I saw a lot of fanfare on Facebook. I saw the governor, celebrating it as well. So I figured it was a major accomplishment in terms of the tech space and what you guys, the work that's been done at the university. So talk to us a little bit about what because I know you have the accelerated program, but this is the pre-accelerated program. Help us to wrap our minds around the difference between the two.
Right. So Accelerate VI, the main program which Michael went through, is a program 3 months, 3 month intensive, and then there's support that we have with the startups way after that. But the 3 month intensive really prepares early stage startups, and how we define that is that you have a minimum viable product, you've probably already started, you probably already have customers, and maybe we are helping you to kind of refine your pitch for investors, to help you with fundraising, to provide mentorship in developing what you already have that exists, right? What we learned from the two cohorts that we've had now with the Accelerate VI is that there are a lot of Virgin Islanders who were excited about the accelerator program because they had all of these really great ideas and they needed support. However, they weren't in a position to really benefit from the accelerator, whether it be that they hadn't started the business yet, maybe it was just an idea that they had on a napkin and they wanted to kind of figure out how to flesh it out enough to participate in the main accelerator program. That is how Eric and his team came up. Eric Saunier, who's the director of business attraction and entrepreneurship, they came up with the idea of creating a pre-accelerator program. So this is a 12-week program. This is our first cohort that we had this year. They started in early spring and just completed, like Anthony said, the showcase last week. And essentially what it's doing is helping to prepare you to be a part of the main accelerator program. So we are helping you to flesh out what your idea is for whatever startup you have, to help you figure out marketing, to help you figure out creating a pitch to investors as well, but at an earlier stage in the process, because we know that there are some, entrepreneurs who don't necessarily have the connections to build whatever app or platform they have, or maybe they don't know where to start in terms of creating the business from scratch. This pre-accelerator kind of primes you and prepares you for applying to the main accelerator program, which is more robust. There's more competition in getting into that program. And the other difference, which is really important about those two programs, is the accelerator program, the main accelerator program, is open to anyone. So you can be from the States, you can be from Asia, you can be from the Caribbean, other Caribbean islands. We are welcoming anybody to the main accelerator program. The pre-accelerator is only open to Virgin Islanders. And it's really to help prepare them and give them an extra boost, an extra step into being competitive in the main accelerator program.
So that's an interesting, let me stop you right there, because obviously this program is watched on Tempo Networks, which is broadcast throughout the U.S., in the Caribbean, in Guyana and Suriname. So you're saying that the main accelerator program, that is an open invitation outside of the Virgin Islands. You don't have to be from the Virgin Islands. So here's your opportunity to speak to that audience, in anyone in the Caribbean that's watching this, in the U.S. and obviously Guyana and Suriname. What would you say to them as to why they should be interested in this thing, and how do they go about, engage in the program, if you will?
Well, first thing I'll say is that we've had, in our second cohort, we have a startup from St. Vincent. Their startup is called Squeeze Cash. It's a payment platform app that genuinely just benefits, through their startup, benefits the entire Caribbean. And I say that also to say that, the mission and vision of the RT Park, of the Research and Technology Park, is really to leverage and benefit off of the talent that we have in the Caribbean region. All of the Caribbean islands, as sister islands, we absolutely share a lot of the same challenges, right? And I have a lot of friends from different islands, and we talk about this all the time. We have a lot of the same challenges because of where we are geographically, because of our culture, because of our histories, a lot of things like that. So, what if we can support somebody from Trinidad or somebody from Jamaica to build out whatever their startup is, or to help them get and scale their startup to the next level, I think that benefits the rest of the Caribbean as well, because we want to be able to expose and promote the talent that exists here. The RT Park also wants to be a leader of innovation in the Caribbean. We want to be a resource for all of our sister islands and our fellow West Indians. So, we want to be able to tap into all of that. And if we can be a support to that, absolutely. It helps us with our vision at the RT Park as a whole to promote technology and innovation in the Caribbean region.
So the accelerator program is the real deal. It's a real tough program. It's very competitive. And so the pre-accelerator program kind of prepares them for that next phase, that next step, to compete in the accelerator program. And so the folks we're going to meet are the folks who participated, and I don't know if the right word is compete, they, I guess, presented at the pre-accelerator program. And I just want to kind of bring up on the screen, if you will, so folks can see, this is you, and you have here the different folks that participated. If you can, Sydney, be so kind to kind of, because I know we don't have everybody on the program, but if you can kind of share with us who are we looking at here and the different companies, please.
Yes, absolutely. I'll go through the companies, and then I guess for the ones that are here, I can introduce them. But I'll start off with VI Crawl. So there were 3 companies that completed the program. Super interesting ideas, guys. I was really proud to see them, take the initiative and be committed to completing the program. Again, we have so much talent here. I could be a broken record and say that all over and over again. But the 3 that participated and completed, the first one was VI Crawl, which is a tourism tech, a tourism app. And basically their application allows you to tour the territory by yourself, right? So it's a self-guided tour of the territory. You can use the app to go to Point Udall and hear stories or the history of that through the app. It can help you find, authentic cultural food here through like the geographic map that they have. There's a lot of different features that allow you to learn about the island by yourself. It gives you more freedom to explore and be adventurous. I think that it's such a great concept, especially in COVID times when you're traveling and you maybe can't be near large groups. This allows you to kind of take the initiative to be that, adventurous explorer and, learn about the places that you're visiting. So that's VI Crawl. There are three founders in that group, and I don't want to mess up their names, but you can find all of this information on the acceleratevi.com website. We have a page dedicated to the pre-AVI cohorts. The second one that I will introduce is Change, which is another great app, super necessary. They work in the health tech space. The founders are Tariq McMillan and Tamara Mohammed, and they own, for some people who may know in the Virgin Islands, they own a behavior health counseling, mental health counseling practice. And they are both counselors and therapists, and they wanted to provide some telehealth options for people in the territory and in the Caribbean, and understanding the cultural nuances to, how people think about mental health support in the Caribbean. They are really big on you understanding that the resources that you have through Change and through Greater Changes, which is their practice, that they are culturally aware of those nuances, and they can make it more comfortable for you to seek the help that you need. It makes it easier through the app that they've created called Change, which is a mental telehealth application. The third one is another super necessary, in my opinion, service and product through Boomerang Eats. These are two brothers, Zaid Salim and Khalid Salim, who have created an app for food delivery, which many of you know can be a challenge in the territory. We've had some iterations or versions of that in the past that, haven't survived. But, these are two young guys from St. Croix who have really taken the initiative to provide a service that will help the restaurant industry, the tourism industry, and really locals who want more convenient ways of enjoying the food that we have here. I will take a step back and just let you know that Tariq and Tamara from Change are from St. Croix, and then VI Crawl has a mix of founders from St. Croix and St. Thomas. And those are the three startups that went through the program. I think, all three of those are super creative ideas that are, necessary or have a space to do really well, not just in the territory, but in the Caribbean.
Yeah, that was, I found when I sat there and I listened to the panelists, and as each company presented their model, and then obviously the feedback, right, from the panelists after they presented their model, I felt the questions were, unscripted, if you will. I'm not saying they weren't, but I'm saying it just felt like they were asking them real-time question as to, why do you think this is going to work? Or in the case of Boomerang, we've had some failed food delivery stuff. So it was refreshing to see that you really took them to task and you asked them the real questions, because you want to hear what the answer is. Michael, as we bring up these guys, right? We're going to bring up these guys. You are a tech guy, right? And so you know the RT Park program. And so what I would like to know is if you were on that panel and you had an opportunity, you're meeting not all of them, you're meeting a couple of them, and you're going to hear from them. I'd like to hear. I'm curious to see what your feedback as a tech person to know how because you know what's out there, you know what's in the market, and to hear these pre-accelerated companies coming up, I'm really going to value what you're going to have to say in terms of what you think of these companies as well. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have a conversation with these guys on the other side. Folks, this is the Marketplace Show Reset. This is segment number 3 on technology and e-commerce tech talk. We'll be right back.
Right now, 91 million Americans are financially overlooked. 48% have a fear of finance. 2 in 3 lack the ability to manage their finances. We solve this issue by combining financial literacy and financial management into one seamless app. 1. Have your financial goals align with your values. 2. Track your money and forecast how big decisions will impact your virtual accounts. 3. Build financial literacy at your own pace. Our competitors are rigid, disconnected, and impersonal. They represent the old way of doing finance. That's not who we are. We personalize your finances for you because we know one size does not fit all. We're democratizing personal finance.
Small business is a part of all of us each and every day. It's where we eat, it's where we shop, it's where we go to meet our friends and colleagues. In the wake of COVID-19, our small business community desperately needs our help. We must do our part to help our local communities to once again thrive. We must focus our attention on the small businesses that are the fabric of our great nation. SureUp is a network of small business owners, their employees, and local consumers all working in unison to support each other. By creating incentives for consumers to think local before considering regional and national providers to fulfill their needs, we create local job opportunities and rebuild our communities. In addition, through AI-driven tools and machine learning, in just 5 minutes a day, SureUp assists business owners in improving their social media presence, which enhances their visibility among consumers and levels the playing field so that local businesses can better compete with large, name-brand online competitors. When local businesses leverage the SureUp platform, full-time and part-time employees, whether W-2 or 1099, are rewarded with a variety of voluntary perks and member benefit options. These include discounts on the things people do every day, access to low-cost, subscription-based telehealth and teletherapy, discounted prescription drug plans, connection to exclusive Prosper resources, and so much more. All for less than the cost of a cup of coffee each day. The Jumpstart Marketplace is here to support the health and wellness of individual employees, as well as the health of businesses in the local communities in which we live and work. We're all in this together, so join us as we reinvigorate our local community and improve the physical and financial health of working America.
We're back, and thank you so much for tuning into the Marketplace Show Reset and Jumpstart. This is segment number 3, which we focus on technology, commerce, e-commerce, and this is Tech Talk. Our special guest this afternoon is a representative from the University of Virgin Islands Research and Technology Park, better known as RT Park. We have Sydney Paul with us. Sydney, I know before you wanted to, before we bring up the companies, the guests, you wanted to talk a little bit about how the program worked, you said? I believe that's what you said.
I just wanted to talk about how the showcase worked. So Anthony attended the showcase last week virtually. It was very similar to those who remember, Michael will remember this, the demo days that the main accelerator program cohorts go through. It's just like a demo day light, if you will. So with the demo days, the two cohorts from Accelerate BI were actually pitching in front of real investors from the territory, from the BI, who may have been interested in investing in these companies. These were real possible deals that they were pitching in front of. With the pre-accelerator, we know that there's still a lot of refinement that they probably have to go through. Obviously, that's why we're preparing them to apply for the accelerator program. And keep in mind, those who go through the pre-accelerator, they're not automatically guaranteed a spot in the accelerator program. They still have to apply like everyone else, and that's why that program is so competitive. However, the showcase that happened last week, the pre-accelerator founders They presented in front of local influencers in the territory who have an idea about maybe investment, who have an idea maybe about business in general, being an entrepreneur, who have a background in tech entrepreneurship. So we had three panelists, if you will, including four panelists, including myself, who were the ones asking them questions. So it wasn't as it wasn't as maybe nerve-wracking. Well, it might have been nerve-wracking for them, and we can ask them when they come on. But the weight of the pitch wasn't as deep as the cohorts go through when they're pitching to real investors at the time. So this was sort of like a mock pitch, that they would do for the demo day.
And I actually really appreciate that you guys are doing that, and that's for many reasons. And I actually spoke to an investor about it because there's been a lot of funds, a lot of investment circling around, especially in the US for African American businesses. Mm-hmm. And a wall that they're hitting is that many of us just don't really know what it is to start a business. We don't really know what it is to be in the startup world, right? So you only have two options. It's either you get in an accelerator without knowing what you're doing, and you may not get investment, you may not get that far, because right now you just hopped into a trolley that's going 1,000 miles an hour and they're trying to catch up. Or you can be kind of handheld a little bit. Someone can help you develop the idea further along. So now you know a little bit more. You understand the environment, the ecosystem a bit more. You understand that some things may not make sense. It's just the way it is. And that kind of gives you an advantage regardless of what situation you're in. So I'm sure it was still nerve-wracking because as a creator, you always, you're never prepared. You always want things to be perfect. But for the most part, this program is something that I really, really would suggest to anyone across the Caribbean, because very few organizations are doing this. And this is actually what we need the most. We need people to help entrepreneurs take their idea to the next stage to then be prepared for the bigger things, So I commend you guys.
If people want to see their pitches, they're actually available on the Accelerate VI website. So they had pre-recorded 1 minute, I think, maybe pitches that everyone was able to look at. And then during the showcase is when we, asked the questions. We had the community participate as well and submit questions. So the pitches are up. And you can see the great work that they did over the past 12 weeks.
All right. So let's bring these guys up. I'm sure they're itching to, talk to the audience. Who knows? Somebody might see them, like what they hear, and say, "How can I participate? How can I, learn more about this company?" So let's bring them up. And I believe we have one more.
The gang is all here.
Okay, we're all here. Fantastic. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Marketplace Show Reset and Jumpstart. Welcome to segment number 3 on technology, e-commerce. This is Tech Talk. Welcome to the program. Congratulations on your participation. I personally had the opportunity. I watched your pre-recorded stuff, but I also participated in the actual presentation as well. So I listened attentively to what you guys had to say and was intrigued by it. And I'm glad to be able to have you guys on the program to share what your vision and what your model, what your business is about, and what you hope to accomplish. So this is your opportunity to be able to speak to the public on it. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for having us.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is to kind of hear from you personally, right? How did you feel going through this process? I mean, let's make it personal. Let's make this real, where you're talking about yourself, right? When you went through this process, obviously it's not the accelerated program, but it's the pre to that. And like she said, there's no guarantee that you're going to participate in the accelerated program. So you knew this was just like a stepping stone to that. Why don't you talk a little bit about what was it like to you? So I don't know if we want to, let's go alphabetical order. Let's go Boomerang. Boomerang, I heard you talk about, you believe, even though you are a new entity, not new idea to the territory, but you believe you have something different that makes it a recipe for success, if you will.
Most definitely. Khalid, you want to go? Or?
You can go first.
All right. And most definitely because we've been in the community, both on the community-based side and in the entrepreneur side. So my background is in merchant services. So a lot of the restaurants that we will be using on the app are starting off as my clients. So having that personal relationship kind of helped me, and my background as well with merchant services are POS systems. So understanding how a point of sale system works kind of help us design our application.
You know, and I'm glad that you say that, because I remember distinctly that you said that you believe that will give, because of that insight you have of the businesses and how that environment works, gives you that sort of advantage to be able to say, okay, I can work with these guys because they know me, I know them, and we can help navigate the relationship a lot better. Is that fair?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. Michael, anything you want to throw out before I continue on here?
No, I think that's a very good advantage. And I think we've seen several similar companies throughout the US want to try to start something similar, but they didn't really understand the deeper levels of working with the different POS systems and businesses across a city, or in this case, an island. And that led to a lot of problems while they were trying to run and also learn how to operate as well. So definitely agree with what Said just said.
Now, Khalid, did I say right? Khalid, did I say that right? Why is it difficult? Why did the others fail? Why did others, other than your personal understanding and the relationship? What are some of the things that? Because obviously, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never ordered anything at delivery before, right? I've seen them because I like to go out, right? We couldn't do that during the pandemic. Very little of it, but you would think that that kind of time and opportunity that these companies would thrive. Why didn't they work either before or during the pandemic? Why didn't they work?
I don't want to get into why they didn't work as far. I don't know the interaction of their personal company. I mean, I just know from our standpoint, outside looking in, I think that being from the place, yes, helps, but also understanding as far as, are you going for volume or are you going for price? And I think sometimes these big companies are struggling because they're trying to overcharge people, or they're trying to make their profit margins, but I think they also are charging way too much for people to actually make that decision. Do I want to order delivery? It's too expensive, or is it a service I'm getting? So I think when you have to choose between, is it a service or I need to overcharge people? I think a lot of people go for overcharging people. And when that happens, I think people it's harder for business to succeed.
Well, when are you realizing that, even though you said you didn't want to get into why it didn't, pricing is a major factor. So if the pricing model isn't right, obviously the longevity of your business is going to be problematic, because obviously the pricing just doesn't fit the market. And so, we talk about, your colleague talked about, service, and then you then kind of really zero in on pricing, where pricing has to be affordable, where people are going to use your service. They have to be able to afford it. And so I would venture to say that you do know why they did, because if the pricing was not right, it was a major obstacle and part of probably what contributed to their demise.
Yeah, and I think being from home, I think that it makes a difference. We care about the people that are there. We want to make sure that our people get what they deserve, and that's where we come from. We're leading with our heart, right or wrong. Some business people might say that's wrong, but we're leading with our heart to make sure that people get what they deserve and they can afford it.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about, okay, I'm at home, I'm at work, I'm somewhere on a boat, in a golf course, and I want to use your service. Kind of walk me through, so the audience that is listening and watching on radio and watching on TV, talk to us a little bit about, okay, how would that work if I then contact you, and just kind of walk us through, using your services.
Okay. You want it? No,
All right. So,
all right. So, okay.
go. No, go. You're good.
All right. We want to make it as easy as possible. So through this process, and we talked about it briefly at the showcase, where delivery is something we're working. It's our app is delivery and or food ordering, but we want to make sure that we work towards it and get it right. And when the app is perfect, it's going to be working where you have your phone, you jump onto our app, you find a restaurant you want, you click on delivery, and from there, our delivery drivers will get the order, they pick it up, and then they go to the restaurant. That's as seamless as we want to make it. And I think just focusing on ordering and food delivery versus our previous competitor who had a lot of different services there, that's what our primary service is going to be. And we want to make it as easy as that.
Michael, what do you think?
No, I mean, I think that's the goal. You want to, eliminate as much friction as possible for the user. That's the whole point of a delivery system, right? So people don't want to get in their cars. They don't want to go to the restaurant. So as a business, your job is to reduce that amount of friction as much as possible. I would say that I think it would be important if you learn more about why it's not working in other markets, or why is their cost so high. Because I know in certain cities, based on talking to, because I actually met someone that works at Uber Eats on their management office side. And a problem that they were having is that, a lot of the restaurants prefer people to come in. And I think we spoke about this, Anthony, probably 10 shows ago. The restaurants want people to come in because they can spend more money. So what they were doing is jacking up the prices on delivery, and the delivery company didn't really have a choice but to pass on that cost. Serious? Yeah. So it happened. It happened. It happened to a few restaurants in Miami. It happened in DC as well. I mean, and this was pre-COVID, right? The good news is that the model has shifted. The economy has shifted. People are more open to different things. So knowing the details behind why is it not working, what made it work. And that's why to some extent, the Uber model worked, because they used their size to force that down. The individual restaurants didn't really have much leverage. So they were able to reduce the price down a bit more. So that's something that you probably should just, look at.
Yeah, and I was saying, we've looked up different models of why it doesn't work. I think making sure for our core principles as far as developing that network where we can provide for people who might like restaurants might want them to come inside, but also providing an opportunity for restaurants to scale and give people choice. And I think that's right. At the core is just giving choice and allowing people to just have choice.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what I'd like to do is let's segue into Tariq and talk about his app, his model. And I believe that is changed, correct? That is the change model. Did I get that right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We're going to come back around because the one question that I want to ask obviously is applicable to both of you. But now let's talk a little bit about your business model, your app. Talk to us about how does change work, and give us that personal side as to what really motivated you. Why did you feel compelled to create this?
Great. So where this started began with moving back home after getting my master's degree and opening a practice here. It was very important to make sure that I came back home, I got the education that I needed, all the experience to do the work in my community. I had a conversation with a friend about what we're doing. We were doing telehealth before developing this platform. And they said, what would be cool is if you guys built your own platform. At least then you could scale bigger. And then I thought about it for a while. I spoke with my co-founder, Tamara, and we realized that as much change and that's where the name comes from, as much change as we want to make within the community, like it's not big enough if we don't have our own platform, if we can't scale to the Caribbean. Because the issues that we face with mental health in the Virgin Islands, like it's not just exclusive to the Virgin Islands, it's throughout the Caribbean and many different parts of the world as well. So that's where that idea really came from.
That's interesting because we're not just talking about telehealth in terms of the sort of what we are accustomed to in terms of general practitioner, in terms of delivering healthcare remotely. You have a very specific target, which is is mental, using telehealth to be able to target a particular type of patient. And so I believe what I understand, a lot of telehealth that has to do with mental health is I think it's described as being able to have ongoing therapy using technology to facilitate staying in touch with that customer where you are not able to, see them in person, but telehealth becomes an important tool when, again, people who have, if you will, the stigma of mental health, right? Most people are not comfortable with it. They don't want to talk about it. They want to be seen. And so why telehealth is so perfect for it is because you can keep that, if you will, private. And it's a channel that keeps that conversation and that treatment between you and your medical provider. Is that an accurate description?
Yeah, that's spot on, really. When we consider what the stigma does as a huge barrier to accessing healthcare, that's where telehealth is crucial. Never before have we been in a point where like people can access care, the care that they need, and not just from this individual level, but the person who accesses this care and like they're able to navigate life better. That ripples out throughout the community, throughout the world, even. So being able to have a platform that breaks the stigma, because it's not just about a platform. Like one of the things that we've always done is become like really informative of like what the stigma is, what it does, and how do we address the stigma in the most efficient and practical way. So all of this is the information, it's stigma.
Do you believe culturally speaking that there is obviously people of color, that's one layer, right? Then you have the Caribbean diaspora and the culture of the Caribbean. And then we bring it down to the parochial level, the Virgin Islands. Are you of the opinion that those demographic have embraced, they have accepted telehealth as a reasonable way to seek out medical care? I mean, do you still see barriers to really overcoming these hurdles? Because obviously we're talking different ethnicity, different sort of race, different genders, and obviously different types of patient care. Do you find that telehealth is folks have accepted it?
Yeah, and even bigger than just using telehealth, I think people of color we're in a point where we're asking, like, where can I find culturally competent services? Where can I find a provider that understands why I didn't want to seek services in the first place? So adding this telehealth layer to it, it just really, it gives us, say, okay, so now I know where to find a provider that understands what my experience is. And I also know how to see this person from the comfort of my own home or wherever I feel most comfortable being.
Mm-hmm. Michael?
No, I think you have a very interesting concept. And, to your point, I don't know why no one has thought about doing it in the Caribbean before. And to Sydney's point earlier, we all have a similar background. We have a lot of similar needs. We have a lot of the same, problems. And, the only thing I can see is that amongst a lot of, the African community or the Caribbean community, as I call them, is that for a long time we've seen, mental health as something that is negative. And I've seen that throughout my friends. I've seen that in my life and, people that I've met. But the reason is mostly because it's not anonymous. And I think that's the biggest selling point. The fact that no one needs to know that I'm getting, therapy, mental therapy, that's going to go a long way. But I think what I love the most is if you look at the Caribbean as a whole, we've been littered with lots of challenges in terms of, not moving forward with certain things, not adopting certain policies, and not moving forward. And a lot of that has to do with the way how we look at life. And what you're doing is something that's really just novel. It's just, it's something that we need consciously and subconsciously. So I think you have a lot at stake. I think you have a lot that you could do. And, I would just focus on, targeting places where they're a bit more open to it first, and then just growing from there.
Sydney, how hard is your job, right? You have to create an environment, inclusive environment. You want to be able to encourage, those who have an idea, like you said, they're written on the paper. They're nowhere close to where they want to be. But how honest do you have to be when somebody comes up with an idea and they want to go through the program? Do you just say to them, I don't think this is a good idea, or do you have to sort of tiptoe and, kind of, be, if you will, what's the word, politically correct to say, maybe this is not a good idea. How hard is it for you being ahead in the program for you to really filter people coming to you with all kinds of ideas and what they want to do with the program?
I do that to the experts, and that's the main Accelerate VI team. So Eric Saunier, who I told you guys is the director of business attraction and entrepreneurship, Amanda Span, who has supported the program from the beginning, and she has, tons of experience in tech entrepreneurship in the States. She runs her own app accelerator, so she's very experienced. And then Rodriguez, who is also from St. Croix, who is the entrepreneurship associate and supports the cohorts, the members when they're going through the programs. They do that heavy lifting. What I do is I see amazing ideas all over the territory, and I'm like, you sound really cool. Please go talk to us. And I let them do the hard work. But I've seen them in action, right? And it's pretty honest, very transparent, and they will let you know if you pitch an idea to them to say, hey, I have this idea. I think that I should be a part of the pre-accelerator, or I should be a part of the accelerator. What do you think? And that's one thing that I will say that makes the process so welcoming, is that they won't turn you down. You know what I mean? Like, they will listen, they will understand where you're coming from, and they will give you tips on whether or not maybe you're not a fit for this, but we think you should go here, or maybe you're not a fit right now. Please work on this, and they will coach you even when you're not in the program, because they care that much about giving the startup founders that step up, that boost up. So, for example, the week before, I met a young guy from St. Croix who I had actually met maybe several years ago, I think in 2019. And in 2019, he had asked me about the accelerator program. He had an idea in his mind, wasn't really there yet. I saw him 2 weeks ago, and he was like, I've been working on this. He's a coder. He does development, software development. And he built out this entire thing. I thought it was super cool. So I was like, you absolutely have to talk to Eric or Alfonso. He ended up talking to Alfonso, and Alfonso drilled him just in that initial meeting. He drilled him with some really hard questions. And he said, I'm not doing this. I'm not asking you these questions to, discourage you or make it seem like that your idea is not good. We ask you these questions to make you as competitive as possible, so that you're thinking about all aspects of the entrepreneurship journey that you may not have thought about, because there are some who are really good business minded and not necessarily technical with coding. There are some who are very good coders, like the gentleman that I met last week or 2 weeks ago, and don't necessarily know where to go in terms of building the business part and fundraising and all these things. So they make sure that you are looking comprehensively at what you need to be a part of the program. And even if you're not ready to be a part of the program, they stay in touch with you to make sure that you're making the right steps so that we can help you in an official capacity. It's a very supportive process. And I mean, I'm sure all of you guys, Michael included, can attest to how they follow up with you guys. But it's entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship in general is a very competitive environment to be in. You are competing against people for investment. You are competing against people for marketing opportunities. You are, to be at the forefront, in front of whoever your customer base is or your market is. So we can't be lenient on you, and we do that because we, one, understand the potential that you have, and two, as a product of the RT Park, as a product of the Accelerate VI program, we want to make sure that you are at the top, like you're the best. So it's an honest, and it can be a difficult conversations to have, but the honesty is very much tough love. It's very much out of caring for your product. And sometimes it's not a hard conversation. Sometimes it's like, wow, you guys have thought of everything. This is great. This is what your next step should be to be a part of the program. But a lot of times, like Michael said, people in our community don't have the experience or don't know where to start in terms of starting a business, in terms of getting into tech. And we are there to make sure that you are as detailed as possible. And sometimes that's, really honest conversations.
I really appreciate it. That's. I think that was some. You offered some really good insight on that. And so this is the part where we segue into asking, where we'll ask, because we have 5 minutes to do this before we end the show. I believe Zayed, you wanted to ask a question. You had a question?
Oh no, I had to add to what Sydney said, and just to attest to what she said. A year and a half ago, my brother and I applied to the program, and we didn't make it. I mean, it was an honest conversation, and it was what we needed. It was absolutely what we needed, and I really wanted to add that to it, just because I think that was the moment where you either have a wish or you want to do the work, and we chose to do the work. And it was a push in the right direction, but they stayed with us the whole way. Eric was sending us emails. Hey, look at this. Here's some information. And we never felt that it was a place of putting us down so we could give up. It was, look, if you want to do this, do it the right way. And I think it made us way stronger and made us better as partners. So thank you, Sydney. Thanks to the RT Park. It really helped us out.
I'm glad that you did, because I wanted you actually segue, because I wanted you to hear from you. Just what you thought about the process and going through that process. So you just kind of naturally segue. So what about change? You want to talk about giving your feedback? What was like for you to go through this process?
Yeah. So we actually had the very same experience as Zeta. Khalid. Like, we didn't get in the first time around. And I think maybe for the first 5 minutes after having that competition, we're like, man, and then after that, I was like, okay, well, time to get to work, and a lot of the things that we did, that we learned with doing this stuff, we applied to the business that we already have. And it just made everything make much more sense. So now when we got into the pre-accelerator this time around, there was these webinars and these different videos, and it was great to see that this is the information that we have been looking at for the last year and a half. Now some of it was still new, but it was it wasn't completely new. We never heard of anything about this or like this. So it really has been, and still continues to be, a very rewarding experience. I mean, right now I'm in the RT space having this conversation, so being able to have access to these resources, the physical as well as the human resources around makes the world of a difference. And I imagine that's going to get even bigger as this program expands, and hopefully we start to see this kind of education being promoted in schools from a much younger age.
So basically it's not like when you tried the first, and it wasn't a total rejection. It's just well, you're not exactly ready. Maybe you can do this and do that and come back to us and give it another shot, right? Is that the consensus? It
was critique that just made us better, because now it's well, we know that these things aren't guaranteed to happen, so you have to make sure there's redundancy. You have to make sure that there's a plan in place for when things don't happen.
Michael, anything before we wrap up here?
Now, I would just say, on that same note that you guys are talking about, I would just second everything that everyone just said. What you don't want to do is have thousands of hours and, maybe some couple grand of dollars invested into the company. You're just, the product is not ready, the idea is not there yet, and you need to start from scratch, or it's probably something that's not viable. So having that feedback and that criticism up front from people like Sydney, they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a while now, and they learn every day more. So it's important that companies get this as early as possible. Early as possible.
So guys, are you ready for the next level? Are you ready for the accelerator program?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Sydney, any closing thought? This is your opportunity to speak to a very broad audience on television in terms of the program and how you want them to contact you, anything you need them to know to say, here's what we got going on. Anything that you'd like to add at this point?
No, I just listening to you guys just makes me all warm and fuzzy inside because it's exactly what we want to see. I want to see people who look like me, who talk like me, in these spaces, and understanding and knowing that we're doing the work that we want to do in the right way that is helping you guys. Just makes me feel really, really good. What I will say is that if we are getting ready to start applications for the main Accelerate VI program very soon. You'll see information about that soon. But in the meantime, if you want to learn about both programs, the Pre-Accelerator and the Accelerator, you can go to www.acceleratevi.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter at AccelerateUSVI. We will be having a lot of content put out there. We'll be having, interviews with past cohort members so that people can see their experiences, understand that. And, we're still in our infancy with these programs. This will be our third cohort of Accelerate VI coming up, and we're just excited to see it grow. You can reach us on any of those platforms if you have questions. We are available. We want to make sure that we're accessible to everyone. I want to thank everyone on this panel who's gone through the cohort, and to Anthony for having this as a platform for us to talk about the program, talk about these great startups, because this is not just about the RT Park, it's about getting you guys the platforms to talk about your businesses, and this is great. I love to see the support.
Fantastic. Well, folks, I want to thank you so much for contributing to the program this afternoon. I want to wish you much success, and looking forward to your continued story and growth for prosperity. Thank you for being part of the program. Folks, that's it for us. Until next week, we will talk soon.